wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop.
Right, welcome everybody. Look at this. I got this thing in my face right here. I'm coloring a new cover, a new IP, a new concept, something that I came up with. People are kind of wondering, you know, what is going on? Like what is going on? We need some clarity here, Jimbo. Some explanation. You got some splaining to do, Lucy. And well, the thing is, Dragon Rage. When Dragon Rage came out, I was pretty green. I had never drawn a book. Dragon Rage is the first comic I've ever drawn. I've always been an inker, worked professionally as an inker, but I've never penciled anything and I've never created anything before. First project that I've done and first campaign that I've ever done that I ran all on my own. And there was a whole lot to learn. I see why there are so many haters, because there are so many people that want to do this and they just know that it's so hard. But you know, I would say to anybody, even haters, is, you know, just go out and do it. Don't be afraid of it. You know, don't think that, yes, the reality is doing a campaign and creating a book. It's difficult. It's very hard. But I think everybody should try. You should at least try. And I got out there and I made a lot of novice mistakes. I learned a lot from it. So that's what's important. You know, it's can you take away anything? You know, can you learn anything? That's the question you have to ask at the end, you know. Then if you did, then you don't give up, you know, you learn and you keep going. So I made a lot of, rookie mistakes, also as well. Murphy's Law, you know, where if anything that can go bad will go bad, you know, can happen, you know, will happen. And it did. Oh my gosh, you know, printing costs went up, you know, shipping costs went up. And then trying to manage a team, you know, trying to have a team of different people and people from all over the world and everybody, you know, with their own lives and people just dropping in and out for different reasons. And so you lose a lot of money that way. And then, you know, learning things like some of the rookie mistakes were, you know, I learned that no matter how many emails you send out, you know, asking backers, say, hey, the book's going to print. Please make sure your address is up to date. You really have to start doing that at least, I think, a week or two before your book goes to print. Because no matter how long you give people, either, you know, their email filters are on. We're bad about checking our email. I mean, I'll admit it, even myself. So it takes them about a week or two by the time they realize, oh my God, there's an email. Let me see what this is. And then go, oh my God, I got to update my address. So you ship out books, they bounce back, they come back to you and you've already spent $10 to ship it out or $50 if it's going international. And then the book comes back to you. And then, you know, the backer's like, hey, I didn't get my book. I'm sorry. I updated my address. Now please send the book. And I don't want to ask backers, you know, say, hey, well, I shipped it out. You need to pay the shipping again, you know. So I shipped books back out, and then I ended up, you know, sometimes it costs $100 where it should have just cost me, you know, $50 to ship something, or it would cost $20 instead of the 10. So when you have that happen, and it's about 200 returns out of 1,000 backers, you know, that's about average. You know, it's pretty decent, about an amount you can expect of addresses, you know, where people, you know, we migrate, we move, life happens, different jobs, we're moving on up, we upgrade to a new swanky apartment or something, or get divorced, break up, who knows, I don't know. But people seem to move a lot. And I was there at one point, you know, I used to move a lot. And so I don't blame them, but you have that stuff. And then, you know, the shipping, supplies you got to buy, all this stuff goes into comic books. So I learned a whole lot from that. You know, I'm no longer really green anymore. Now I've learned a whole lot. Well, then I visit my cardiologist, and my cardiologist says, hey, you know, we're going to do this echocardiograph. We're going to check on your heart, and I'm hoping for a 50 on your ejection fraction. You know, we're going to get it. We're going to get it there. You know, we're hoping for it. You know, you've been on your new meds for quite a while. And he's like, you're exercising? And I was, yeah, sure, doctor, I've been exercising. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was working night and day on Dragon Rage, just killing myself literally on Dragon Rage, night and day drawing, you know, and I wasn't getting any exercise. I was sitting down for about, 14 hours with minimal breaks. You know, I just get up and walk to the mailbox or go drive, to my wife's work and pick her up or something, and then in and out of the car. Like that was all my own exercise. So we had this echocardiograph, we get the results, and 50 was the goal. 70's healthy heart. 50 is where we at least want to get me. Turns out, nope, I'm at 30. So he says, hey, you can still, live a long time, still live a normal life, even if your ejection fraction stays at 30, but you have to exercise. You have got to exercise. You have to do it, And so, all right. So I want to make right with my campaign. I wanted to, I needed to raise funds because I've got my book printed. I've got almost half of them shipped out. And then I have no budget now because of all the returns that came back. Didn't budget for that. Had no idea. Didn't even fathom that, just a rookie mistake. So I got no budget now. I've got all these books stored away in storage. I got all the supplies, everything, but no budget to ship them out, to get them to backers. So I said, well, I'll run a new campaign, raise funds because the book's already paid for, so I can take that extra funds and fulfill. But then that was when my doctor had talked to me, and I said, man, that means I would have to stop that campaign. And I know that there's haters out there that'll be like, I'll try to run with it, say something bad about it, or people would get concerned. And I don't want people to think that I'm quitting anything or leaving. So it was a big decision to make. And I said, well, I have no choice. I mean, my health is so important. If I don't take care of myself, then I won't be around to do any more books. So I made the big decision, did that, and canceled the campaign. I talked with Indiegogo and I let them know what was going on, and their support team was very supportive. They said they understood, and it's not something they normally do, but they're willing to do that for me, and I was very, very grateful, for that. So thank you, Indiegogo, and your team, and out there, and you guys working with me on that, and thank you to all the supporters and backers. Not one person was angry. Everybody, every backer that I had on the new campaign, all said to me, almost everybody sent a message and said, take care of yourself. Don't worry about this. We're okay with that. And then it turns out more people want the black and white book now. And I go, ooh, wow. So I'm taking time off, prioritizing my health. But in the same time, I love to draw. My mental health, I can't just sit around doing nothing. When I've got nothing to do, then I'm outside in my pajamas, checking the mailbox like 40 times a day. I'm waiting at the mailbox for the mailman to come by just so I can interact with somebody. I'm like, hey, how's what do you think of this weather we're having, right? Ooh, crazy. I don't want to be that guy. I need something to do. So I spend a couple hours. I limit myself now to, I work about maybe 2 to 4 hours throughout the day, and that's about it. I mean, that's pretty much, that's vacation, right? I mean, when we love to just work 2 to 4 hours a day, even that still drives me crazy. But my wife and I, we've converted one of the bedrooms. We're making it into a workout area. I'll be working out in there. She works out all the time. She's a workout nut, but I gotta, start working out in there with her, and I'll be doing that. But let me show you guys all this time when I'm gonna show you guys what came in my head. I didn't have this idea at all. I had somebody troll me the other day and was trying to discourage me. I know who it is, but I don't want to call that person out. I mean, I don't know why they decided to troll me. You know, I was like, hey, I know who you are. Like, why would you troll me? But I don't know. But I go, they asked me, you know, I said, hey, you know, you're coming up with a new idea. And I thought, I said to myself, I go, I'm full of ideas. I really am. I'm full of ideas. I've got tons of them all the time. I mean, I'm a storyteller. I can come up with ideas night and day. I've got about maybe, I don't know, 100 in my head. And I've got about maybe 40 different ideas sketched out throughout my computer. Stuff I just sketch out and I just put it away. And but this one I didn't have. And I was watching Aaron Lopresti, and I was sitting back and I was like, wow, he launched Wraith of God. And it did amazing. He did it by himself. Like, he just, you know, Ethan's like, hey, how come you didn't let me know? And he launched it on his own thing. And of course, Aaron Lopresti's, you know, he's a veteran in the industry. He's done penciling. I mean, I've never penciled a book other than Dragon Rage. I've only penciled one book, and Aaron Lopresti's way more experience than I have, of course. And he's a fantastic artist. And I love Aaron Lopresti. You know, if you guys are ever wondering, you know, when I tease him and he teases me, we like each other. You know, at least I hope he gets that. I really like the guy. I look up to Aaron quite a bit. Not just because he's a tall white guy, but you know, I look up to him quite a bit. You know, he's a really good artist. I love his storytelling. And I was watching his Wraith of God, and I said, I think I can come up with something that is a Western horror. And I sat around and I went, I want it to be dark. I wanted to be dark, and and then I started thinking of my idea. What if it was like an Outlander, somebody coming in that isn't from that region or isn't from that culture and being put into that? That's what an Outlander is. And I wanted it to be a dark story. And then right there it hit me, bam, there's my name, Darklanders. I got a name, great. Now I need to sketch out characters, sketch out some characters. What would Darklander be? So my wife came to me, and, you know, and she said, hey, you know, since I wasn't working, I'm not supposed to be doing so much work. I'm supposed to be, you know, trying to get more exercise. And so she said, let's go run grocery errands. So as we're walking around the grocery, I'm just thinking in my head, and I'm living in this world, playing around of you know, what would Darklanders be? And I'm talking to her about it, kind of vocalizing it, you know, trying to articulate the thoughts that are in my head. And I kind of, you know, just played around with ideas and didn't really settle on anything. We get back and we put away our groceries, and she says, hey, let's relax and watch some TV. You know, you got a little exercise. We walked around a little bit. Let's watch some television. And while we're sitting watching television, she likes to sketch. She opens up a little pad and starts sketching butterflies. She loves drawing butterflies. So Anna's sketching away at butterflies, and she gets up, goes to the bathroom, puts down her sketchbook and her pencil that she's drawing with, is like the wooden pencils you have to sharpen with a knife, you know, the big fat pencil. So she's drawing with that pencil. And as she left, she goes to the bathroom. She walks away. I pick up her pad and I kind of flip through some of her butterflies, and I go, and I grab her pencil and I started sketching out this idea that I had. And I just like, you know, I want to draw like a Dracula, a vampire. And I sketched out this dude right here, this guy. And I just sat back and I sketched in her sketchbook, and all I had was the Dracula guy, you know, a vampire. He's not actually Dracula, but, you know, a vampire. And Anna comes back, you know, I did a quick sketch. I mean, Anna just, you know, goes to the bathroom for a few minutes, comes right back. By the time she comes back, she says, oh, that's amazing. That looks great. She's like, you did that fast. And I don't know if many of you guys know, but I mean, I'm a fast artist. I can draw really quick. I mean, I rarely use reference, but I will reference when I have to, you know, because you should reference. But I would generally just, you know, I just draw stuff, you know. If you've watched my channel, you've seen me where I draw stuff. I even drew a bear. I don't know if you guys saw in the last video. I just sketched out a bear I can draw bears, wolves, horses without reference. I can just, animals for some reason come easier to me. But she's like, wow, that's a great idea. And I went, that's it. That's my book. So he's not the main character. He's the main protagonist in my story. The main guy in this new book that I'm going to be coloring. And the reason that I'm not coloring it, kind of going over a little bit about the book, because I know you guys are going to be curious, going to be asking me, Jimmy, what the hell is this book? Well, I have ideas, and I've been sketching out about 3 or 4 different ideas, and I have to draw. I have to draw these things out. I exude creativity. I exude ideas. And if you're an artist and a creator, you understand we just constantly have these ideas. So I constantly sketch them out. I don't plan on crowdfunding anytime soon. I really do have to spend, I mean, I've got at least, I got to take at least 4 to 6 months to really concentrate on my health to get my heart ejection fraction up to where, I need it to be. And so I need to be exercising and moving a lot more. But in the meantime, I'm going to concentrate a little bit, since I don't have much time. I'm going to concentrate as much time that I have during the day to work on this one here on Darklanders. It won't necessarily be a crowdfunding book. It's going to be more of a pre-order because I'm going to finish the book. I'm going to finish all the pencils on the book before I even consider launching the book, because that's what I've learned works for me. When I launched Dragon Rage, I only had 4 pages done, and then trying to do a 44-page comic book took me a year, with all the other responsibilities of campaigning and getting out there, shaking hands, kissing babies. And it takes up so much time. I had no time to draw. So it took me a year. But if I sit and I just draw out this book, I can do it I could pencil a book in a month if it's, less than 22 pages. But this book's going to be at least 22 pages minimum, maybe more. But I can do it in about 3 months, knock it all out. And that's with me working, 2 to 4 hours a day. And I can knock it out, have all the art ready, spend the time I need campaigning, raise the funds. Once the funds are raised, then I just ink it, color it, and the book goes out to people. So I've learned that. And I will be writing, penciling, inking, lettering, designing, marketing, editing, doing everything myself. I have a buddy of mine who's an editor. He was an editor at one of the companies I worked at. He's an amazing guy. He's a creator, writer, editor. He's offered to help me edit and maybe help me with some dialogue. And that I may end up, having somebody do that for me. But I'm going to be doing everything. Get it done, right? Get it finished and have it done, have it ready so I can just send it out to people. And hopefully then I can limit any of those room for error, and I can minimize my overhead and have a lot more, hopefully extra profit that I can take over and fulfill Dragon Rage and just get everything done and get caught up, because, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not done. I know there are people that wanted me to quit and try to get me to quit. I've had a couple of 1 or 2 trolls. I mean, 2 of them that I know exactly who they are, but they trolled me, try to get me to quit. And the thing is, if you troll me and attack me, or you try to knock me down, I get back up and I'm stronger, because I'm a fighter. That's what I do. It's just my nature, how I was raised. So if they had left me alone and nobody trolled me, then I would still just be sitting there depressed about the way Dragon Rage campaign went, and I probably would have quit on my own because I was in my own head. But then since I got these people trolling me, I go, wait a minute, if they're trolling me, I'm onto something. You know what I mean? And then I'm a fighter. I fight back. So I go, ooh, you know what? I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to figure out a way to do this. I'm going to figure a way to get this done. And just like my artwork, if you come in and you criticize my work, I get better. Somebody came in and criticized the way I drew faces, and I draw faces better. And of course I had, and then somebody criticized the way I drew a rabbit. I went back and learned to draw rabbits. I draw them kick ass now, So that's what I'm coloring now, in case you guys are wondering. There is no release date for it. I'm just thinking sometime in early 2025. That's what I'll be doing. And look at this. I didn't know how to color. Dragon Rage people, I had this one guy who tried to tell me that, try to deter me from coloring my own book. And I didn't know how to color. And he was, had people trying to, tease me about, give me a hard time about not having a proper colorist. And I said, I'm you know what? I'm going to learn to color. I had people making fun of me going, oh, you can't manage a team because you couldn't even keep these colorists on schedule. And I'm not a slave driver. I mean, I can't go fly to the Philippines or South America, or wherever these colorists were, and go, hey, you guys need to be working, get the stuff done, and get it done right. But since I spent the time to learn a color, I can now color. I can pencil, ink, color. I'm gonna take the time to learn to write. I'm researching, reading, studying. I always study. I have a book on writing, and I have a book on drawing. I went down to my local library. Look at that, my local library, and I got the drawing techniques. And I also have the framed perspective books, but those I already own. So I study. I love to learn new things. I love challenges. Like I said, I'm a fighter. I love it. But if people had left me alone and nobody trolled me or nobody tried to deter me, I would have failed. I would have been my worst enemy. I was already in my head. But when I start having people troll me or deter me, that's when I go, you know what? People come at me, and that's when, I grew up in the ghetto, man. I mean, that's what happens. I'm a fighter. If you try to come at me, then I'm gonna, I swing back. I don't just curl up and play victim. That's not me. And so here I am coloring, guys. If you guys have questions about me when I start coloring, if you have technical questions, I'll try to answer them. But be completely honest, I'm not a professional colorist. I'm learning as I go. I've learned quite a bit. I've colored already. Dragon Rage, I've colored about 10 pages, 3 covers, and now this. So, I mean, I don't even have 15 pages under my belt yet. But I think I'm doing pretty good. So don't worry, guys. I know you're there. I'm going to say hi to you guys. I really appreciate you guys are here. I just wanted to get my thoughts out of my head, and in case you guys are wondering. And so don't worry, if you guys ordered Dragon Rage and you want that black and white book, you will get it. I am going to get it to you. I am actively working on a plan to raise enough funds that I need left over. Because what we could do very simply is backers could say, well, I could ask backers, hey, if you send an additional $10 to me PayPal with your backer number, I just use that. Your packages are in my garage. They're already boxed already. So I just buy the label and drop it off, and it's there to you. People want to do that, but right now I don't want to ask people that, backers to do that right now. I don't mind putting in the work, right now and try to build up a new IP that I can market for several months. Start, getting people excited about it. I posted on Instagram. People went nuts on Instagram, and that's non-Comicsgate people on Instagram. So I've got tons of people out there that are excited about it. I've got Comicsgate excited about it. I just wish Aaron Lopresti was excited about it. He's so competitive. He got mad when I said him. He's like, "Is there a werewolf in it?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Is it a Western horror?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh." I love that guy. He's awesome. But so yeah, I'm actually working on it. You guys will get your books. Your books are printed, they're packaged, they're safely stored. I've got a 2-car garage that the garage is empty, and all your boxes and everything are in there. They're stored safely away inside another box. So no need to fret. They will get to you. I have them all there. So I'm going to market this book, try to get this book out there. Like I said, this book will be completely done as far as the art goes, pencils wise, before I even try to crowdfund it. I even had an independent company on Instagram said, "Hey, we like what you've done. We've seen some of your work. Have you ever considered using an independent publisher?" And I said, no, I haven't. They want me to send them a proposal and possibly get it published and get it in comic stores. And I mean, I don't want to say that I would never do that, but right now, the whole reason for crowdfunding is I have a vision and I want to do it my way. I want to get this vision out, and I want to keep it as pure as I can. The way that I write the book, the way that I color it, the way that, I want everything that way. I want total creative control. Plus, if I get enough support and backers, I won't need an independent company. I will be that independent company. I can publish books, hire more artists and people, and start bringing people in, and getting more books done. Because you guys have seen, I announced, I showed a book that I have with Greek mythology called South of Olympus. I've got this one, Darklanders. I want to continue Dragon Rage, but I need an artist. But before I can do any of that stuff, I need to raise funds. And if I can raise enough funds, build up a company, I can, employ people and put them on books that are just fantastic books. South of Olympus, that's an amazing book. And Dragon Rage is fantastic. You guys have seen it already. But the thing is, I want to go with Darklanders and focus on that, because I think it's an easy concept for people to understand. When I created Dragon Rage, I thought, well, everybody knows dragons, but my characters weren't dragons. They were Dragari, kind of dragon-like. So people didn't quite understand that concept. Not everybody knows Greek mythology like the way I thought they would. And although people really like South Olympus, but I said, everybody knows vampires, werewolves. They know that. It's an easy concept to grasp. And, all I got to do is just, once I start marketing the book, just letting you guys know what the story is and what the characters are. And you guys are going to love it. In the end, it's a pretty simple story. It's a great story that with characters we can all relate to. It's going to have a lot of gunslinging action, supernatural stuff, beautiful babes. It's an amazing book. But I'm going to say hello to you guys real quick. You guys are great. I want to say hi. John the Voice says, hi, Jimmy. I enjoy these coloring sessions. I'm learning a lot. Oh man, that's awesome. I didn't think I had anything to teach anybody. Black Hat Cinephile says, Jimmy, Electric Pen Media says, hey, Jimmy, have you tried coloring in Clip Studio Paint? I started in Clip Studio Paint. In fact, I use Clip Studio Paint to flat, because Clip Studio Paint has a lasso fill tool. So I just select stuff, and I can flatten, do my flats in Clip Studio fast in there. So I like Clip Studio Paint to flat, but I already have all my brushes, all my auto actions, all the kind of stuff, my setup, my workflow, and all set up in Photoshop. So I'm just going to stick with Photoshop for now. Although I do letter, pencil ink, and I pencil ink and letter in Clip Studio Paint. So it would be nice if I could just color in Clip Studio Paint, so that I just do it all in there. Of course I use Adobe InDesign to lay out my books, and I design all my logos and everything vector in Adobe Illustrator. But pretty much the entire comic would be done in Clip Studio Paint. And and Clip Studio Paint has reached out to me if I want to be an affiliate. They like my work. Wacom contacted me. They saw my YouTube channel, and Wacom contacted me. I do work on a Wacom Cintiq. They reached out and they want to partner up, and I'm for that. I thought, wow, that's amazing. See what I can do with Wacom. So I'm going to concentrate too on my channel. I'm going to get you guys more tutorial videos, since I won't have too much time to be working, but I can film videos, and those I can get done, and I can edit videos, and just kind of get those ready and build up my library again. Get you guys some really good, useful information, something that that you could use to if you guys are ever curious as to how does Jimmy do this or do that in Clip Studio. This way you guys can have some good, useful tips, be a good resource, which is the way my channel started. And that's why it was growing so big. And I'm going to continue that. But when I started live streaming, my channel kind of went, it just kind of plateaued. So I'm going to go back to edited videos mostly. So I won't be streaming as much. And Jesus says, hola from Peru. Man, that's awesome. I appreciate that. You're taking the time to watch me. John DeVoy says it's great to get your ideas onto paper whenever you have them, especially since you have such a vivid imagination. Yeah, this is my thing. This is my exercise that I do to strengthen my imagination. So what I do is every night at bedtime, as I'm falling asleep, I put on this sleep track, the white noise. And because when I was a kid, we didn't have air conditioning. We had ceiling fans. So I can't sleep unless I have a ceiling fan going. It's just, I guess it's just part of, when you're growing up. I don't know. So I have this white noise, and this white noise is of a spaceship in outer space, and it's not quite a humming noise. It sounds like a ceiling fan. It just sounds like voo, 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 and it just makes that noise. So here's what I do. I lay down, close my eyes at night to that sound. I have it playing. It's a nice ambiance in the room, and I start to dream in my mind before I'm asleep. I just start pretending and thinking of a story. I think of, what if I were to time travel? What would that be like? Where would I go? Who would I visit? What would happen? What are the responsibilities? And then next thing I know, I fall asleep. The other thing too is I'll start thinking of story ideas. What if there were these werewolves? What if there was a town run by vampires, right? What if there was this town that you had no idea they're hidden behind the veil of night and disguised behind the veil of darkness, that you think they're humans and had no idea, but they're these vampires. So I start playing with these different ideas and just visualizing it in my mind's eye, and it helps me fall asleep. And I've got an idea. I've got tons of ideas, and the ones that I like, I'll sketch them out. Not every one of my ideas is going to be, gold, but I just sketch them out. Like this one here, I had no idea. This just before 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I had I didn't even think of this book, Darklanders, and before I announced it, I went online and made sure, that I can get the name and got everything and submitted and everything, and got all my stuff, submitted. And then I just started showing you guys. And I'd only been drawing this stuff for just a couple of days before I showed it to you guys. And I whipped up this promo. So what helps me is having like a concept. When I design covers for issues number 1, I do them like Drew Struzan, very, very big Drew Struzan fan, where Drew Struzan draws like a movie poster. I do that. So I draw out kind of like a movie poster to kind of show scenes and characters for issue number 1. And what I'm going to do here in the story for this book is I am going to, what I did was I drew this scene out right here, kind of with all these characters showing this vampire who's the main protagonist of the story. And the main character is that cowboy in the bottom right corner. And I drew this cover out here. And then as I tell the story, you're going to journey the story. You're going to be introduced to the world of Darklanders through the eye of the main character, our hero, which is that cowboy. You're going to be introduced to this world as he's introduced to this world, because he had no idea. He gets to peek behind the veil. He had no idea that werewolves, vampires, and anything supernatural, he had no idea any of that ever existed. And so you go through the journey, and eventually we get to this kind of scene where you get to see this part of the world. So the book starts out like a regular, just Western. We see a cowboy. He's traveling, through the land. And we get to go through this journey with him. And you guys, start to see more and more of it as I build up more and more pages. I'm already penciled page I'm on page 4 now. I'm doing all the rough pencils, if you guys are wondering. And but once I complete all the pencils, that's when I want to launch the campaign. So it'll be it won't necessarily be a crowdfunder. It'll be more of like a pre-order kind of thing. You know, I want people to feel comfortable to know that, I mean, you're going to get your books. And the reason I'm switching the IP is that Dragon Rage did great, 1,000 backers. You know, that's good. It's, you know, it's not bad. But there's still so many more supporters out there that didn't get it because they don't like fantasy. But it seems like everybody can relate to the supernatural and action and vampires and werewolves. And what if like Bruce Willis or Billy the Kid was in the movie Underworld and he sees this world of werewolves and vampires, right? What if Pat Garrett was in that world? That's what I started thinking. And started playing with that idea and came out with Darklanders. And there's a reason for the name, why it's called Darklanders. As I develop and start releasing the book, more information on it, I'll let you guys know more and more about it, you know, so that you guys have a better understanding of what the book is. And if you can understand what the book is, what the basic concept is, then it will make it easier to make the decision of whether or not this is a book you want to back, you want to read, you know. But I'll tell you though, I've learned so much penciling that last book, man. Wait until you guys see the work I'm doing in this book. It's going to blow away what I did in Dragon Rage. If this covers any indication, you know, this cover should tell you right here that I'm leveling up as I draw. Each time I draw, you know, I'm just getting better and better. So wait until this book launches. Wait until this book's completed, man. You guys are gonna. Plus, if you know, I penciled pretty quick. I penciled Dragon Rage kind of fast, but I imagine if I take my time, like I'm doing with this book, just taking my time, enjoying the book, and imagine what I can do. You know, how good this book can look. So finish saying hello to you guys. I have a lot of time lapse you could watch, from rough sketch to finished product in a short few minutes. Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I definitely, I love that. You know, I'm going to start doing that with mine too, where I'm going to start doing some time lapse videos, but I'm also going to do like tutorials and show you guys tips and tricks to speed up your workflow in Clip Studio Paint. Show you guys how I got really effective and how I built up speed in Clip Studio Paint. You know, I can work really quick and fast in Clip Studio. And when I first got into Clip Studio, it was a nightmare. I couldn't figure out what was where, and I was struggling with it. And at the time, there weren't any other artists that I knew that could help me. And so I turned to a couple of manga artists that I know. They showed me a lot. So I'm super grateful for that. And because of them, they really, we really streamlined my workflow, and I got pretty fast and efficient with it. And I want to do that for you guys. If I can save you guys some time, you know, then, you know, I want to do that. But I'm thinking about doing some time-lapse videos too. That's a great idea, but I wouldn't mind watching yours. Kuroko says, "Hail, Jimmy." Hey, man. Oh, I love your icon. Dude, that icon's bad. badass. Toshiro says, hail. Dale A. Personally, this Western vampire concept appeals to me a lot more than Dragon Fantasy. I've heard that so much that it almost hurts my feelings. I've heard so many people. I put it on Instagram, I put it on Twitter, and a lot of people DM me, and a lot of people respond to me on Instagram, and said, they say your dragon thing was cool. I like that. And when they say your dragon thing, I'm like, oh, that hurts my feelings. And they're like, this Western is badass. Like, I love it. And I even had a buddy of mine, professional artist, David Wilkins. He works over at Wizards of the West Coast, but he's a professional artist at DC Comics. And I hadn't heard from him in a while, and he's pretty critical. He'll let me know when I draw something that doesn't look right. He'll let me know. He doesn't hold back. But he had nothing but nice things to say about this cover. He raved about it. And I was so flattered. I was like, wow, this guy just doesn't throw compliments out there just to make you feel good. Like that's not his personality, And he's a really nice guy. The dude is huge. He's built like the Hulk, man. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like a Latino Arnold Schwarzenegger guy, he's huge. And so he don't have to, he don't have to worry about hurt feelings. Nobody's gonna get angry at this guy, But he's a nice guy, he's a good friend. And he gave me a lot of really good compliments about this book, and so have a lot of people. And like I said, to the point where they're like, your dragon thing was okay, but this I like, and I go, oh man, thank you. And my feelings are kind of hurt. So I have a good feeling about this project, and I want to really give it, I really want to not rush it. I really want to spend the time really fleshing it out, developing it. I've got the story idea. I wrote out the story idea, the basic story idea, and then I wrote another version of it. And then I have another version of it. So it's kind of evolved. And as I'm going, it changes up, it evolves a little bit. But I grew up with an alpha male. My dad, he's a truck driver. He's an alpha male. He's a big football fan. He's, he loves Texas, and he loves Westerns. He loves the gunslinging. He loves Bonanza, and he loves all those Western TV shows. My dad does not like John Wayne, and whenever we'd buy him a gift, we said, oh, get him something cowboys. He loves cowboys, like Western. But my dad's like, if you're going to get me something cowboys, do not get me John Wayne. And I asked him one day, my dad's a big guy. He's real built. Well, he's old now, but he's still got a build on him. And I'd always been intimidated by my dad. He's a big guy. I'm short. I'm little. My brothers, my dad, everybody's big. I got a brother that's over 6 foot. My little brother, my baby brother, is 5'11". I'm 5'2" on good days, somewhere like that. I'm pretty short. And so I asked my dad, what's up with John Wayne? I mean, I don't talk to my dad like that. What's up with John Wayne? No, I was like, why, Dad? Why wouldn't you get? Why don't you want anything about John Wayne? He says, because he always wins. He's always going to win. There's no threat. And I went, oh my God, my dad's a good storyteller. Like, he knows a good story when he sees one, And so I grew up with all those shows. For me, I love the supernatural. My mother always told us stories. We were poor growing up as kids. Poor. And my mom, we would all sit around, and my mom would tell us stories. She would tell us stories about the Llorona, which would be, the crying woman. She would talk about La Lechuza, which is the owl. It's an owl with an old lady's head. She would tell us all these different stories in Spanish. And my mother's indigenous. But I mean, she would say the story in English, but these are stories from Spanish. You know, most of them were like from either the indigenous culture or from Mexico or, you know, Mexican, Indian, and all this stuff. Some of it was some of that folklore. She would always tell me these stories. So my mother raised storytellers. My sister can tell great stories. My sister used to tell me bedtime stories. Just like you would see in the movies, Fred Savage laying in his bed and his grandfather reading him the book. Was that The Princess Bride? Was it? Or was that one The Never Ending Story? I forget. But so my family is all storytellers. And I was raised that way. So if you guys have, you want to practice storytelling, if you have kids, tell your kids stories. Make up a bedtime story for them. It's a good exercise. Plus, it'll teach them, inspire their creativity. And I do this like crazy, but I don't mean the crazy gesture. Although my parents did raise, a bunch of nuts. We're a bunch of I have a big family, and I have a lot of siblings, and we're all loony in one way or another. But so I have all these stories, ideas, and nobody has done a Western horror story like this. Not even Mr. Lopresti, who I look up to. Sorry, Aaron. This one's people are gonna go, whoa, this is new. I am using characters like what it is that all the stories have already been told, right? All the genres already have something in that genre out there. So it's not like I created vampires. There's tons of vampire stories. It's all about how you tell the story and what your characters do, who your characters are, that your readers and your audience will connect with. So, it's people, you always see the thing of people would say, well, if you put a different little twist on it. Yeah, it's that too. It's how you tell your story. That's what's going to separate you from the rest. And that's what I have done, is really focused on how I'm going to tell this story. What's going to be interesting about it. I need to keep the story simple. And not get overly complex with the story. I think I read Godlike, and it's an amazing concept. John's got an amazing book. He's a fantastic artist. But the thing was, we were given at the beginning of the story so much backstory right at the beginning that I think that's where he lost the readers. Readers just kind of went, some people dropped out after 3 pages. It took me a couple of reads. I was reading it going, whew, that's a lot of information, whew. And then I came back and I'd read it again and a little later, and I keep doing that. And I think, what happened was he fell into what, everybody wants to tell a big story, and it's easy for us to write a big story. It's hard to write a short story. It's hard. That's a big challenge that, I don't even know if I could do it. I'm going to try. It's my first time writing. So I'm not saying I'm a better writer than anybody else or anything like that. But that's what happened, I think with Godlike, when I hear people saying, well, I didn't really enjoy it. And I think, give it a chance, because it is a good book. It's a fantastic idea that he's got. It's sci-fi fantasy, and I love that stuff, and plus, it's John Malin artwork, man. I mean, the guy's a fantastic artist. I heard people criticizing, he didn't draw backgrounds. He drew the same 3/4 shot of a figure over and over and over. It was the same thing over and over. And I go, man, but the thing is, it's beautiful layouts. He's just got an amazing style. There's just something great about his work. It's got energy in it. I really do. I like John's work a lot. And I think with Godlike, it's just that backstory could have been told over time. I think, you have to introduce that world and explain that world through the eye of your character. and have that and have the audience journey a discovery as your character discovers this world. That's what makes it wonderful and great. Ghostbusters originally was a completely different concept when the first script was written. It was originally the Ghostbusters it was a city overrun by ghosts, and there were tons of Ghostbuster companies. They were all competing for the work. That's the original script in Ghostbusters. And it wasn't until was it Ivan Reitman, I think, decided that he liked the idea of four guys sliding down a pole in their gear and their backpacks, and they're getting inside this old white hearse vehicle. And he liked that idea, so he created a story that shows how they get to that point, how they get to ghostbusting, and he put that fire hydrant and them in those suits on the posters, and to be the image that people see first, and then he tells a story on how they get to that. So I've always kept that in mind, and I thought that was amazing. I saw a documentary on that, and I love documentaries. I watch them as I draw, and I thought that was amazing. So, well, that's the approach that I'm taking with Darklanders. And also, too, to John Malin. John Malin, one thing he had said to me, I said, hey, I want to create an idea. And he said, well, at one time he said to me, I would say, because I was creating Dragon Rage. And he said, I would switch to a one character story, one character concept, where you've got like a Spider-Man or a Spawn or Batman, something like that. And then he and I were talking about titles. He's like, one word title, that's how it should be. It should be simple. And that was amazing. That is some of the best advice I'd ever gotten. It was a great talk he and I had. And I've always kept that in mind. So when I came up with Darklanders, there's multiple characters in this world of Darklanders, but really it's going to focus on one guy, this cowboy. And as this cowboy, we goes from being just a regular cowboy, that he discovers that there's a whole nother world behind this veil of night, that they're hidden in this world of darkness. That after the sun goes down, there are different types of people. He starts to realize this town isn't what it appeared to be. And we go through the journey with him. And the book itself, just Darklanders, it's a great name, simple, and easy to remember. I've already had people, when I was doing Dragon Age, some people would go, wait, is that Dragon Age? But there's already a Dragon Age. And I go, no, Dragon Rage. It's all one word. I had a hard time selling that, right? Getting people on there. But this one, nobody's gone, what is it? Everybody's like, oh, Darklanders. Wow. Or I like the name, and I go, oh, okay. So I think I'm on to something there. And there's going to be some glow from the smoke, because I think vampires, they move in mist. It goes all the way back to Nosferatu, and of course Bram Stoker, when he created Dracula, he moved in the mist. He moved like mist, is the way he described it in the book. And so I want to add some of that in here. Let me see if I want, how much glow do I want? Yeah, that's pretty good. Wait, maybe more. Hold on. And so I think Godlike 2 is going to be much better than Godlike 1. I think he's going to adjust based on the response that he got off the first one. And I think, that's going to be an amazing book. So right now, unfortunately for me, I'm on a tight budget since, my wife has an amazing job. I'm blessed that my wife has a career. She's got a great job, good benefits. Thankfully, I have my retirement. Unfortunately, I was medically retired early, but I do have my retirement, and that just means you know, we were able to pay our bills. But I have no money for anything outside of that, you know, which is we can't go out to eat. Um, and my medications, I have one medication that is $100 every month. That's the only one that I worry about and I struggle with. So I'm just, you know, got to be on a budget and focus on my health, try not to stress and just relax. And, you know, I'll be okay. Just things will be tight. I joke that we're going to be eating ramen noodles, which we actually are, but we like it. You know, we like them a lot and we like eating them. And so things are a little tight right now, but, you know, God provides. And I'm a big believer in that. And just concentrating on this book and everything. So I won't be able to back God like I wanted to, but God like 2, you know, I won't be able to back any books for a while, but you know, the last comic I bought was a couple of weeks ago. I got Hyde Street. It's like a what do you call that? Twilight Zone. It's like a Twilight Zone, and I like it. I like that stuff. I grew up with my mom likes horror movies, and she let me watch horror movies with her as a very small child. Not something I think you should do. And then I grew up with a kind of mom that was like, my mom's like a tomboy. She's pretty tough. She's an indigenous woman. You know, she's not going to kiss my boo-boos. She's like, rub some dirt on it. You know what I mean? That's my mom. Mom, I'm scared. There's something under my bed. Come check. She's like, go to sleep, you pussy. There's nothing under your bed. And I would just lay there under the blanket all scared and everything, you know, after all the stories and stuff she would watch. You know, and she was like, if you don't go to bed, I'm going to make you watch another horror movie. Oh, I'm asleep, Mom. I'm asleep. So that was a mom that's the mom I have. But she's still pretty amazing, regardless of her inability to kiss my boo-boos. I didn't grow up with any of that. You know, I think that's why today I don't understand cat people, the people that have cats. You know, I don't get it. My oh shoot, I picked the wrong color here. What did I do? Oh, so this is how I grab colors. I'll use my flat color, and then I'll run my brush with a dodge, and I'll dodge it to get it just a shade, a highlight on it, a little lighter. And then I just grab that color, and then I just put my brush back to normal. And then that's my secondary color that I use to highlight instead of trying to pick it through the color wheel. I like to get a little more vibrant in it from the dodge effect. And then I just use that as my, that's where I get the highlights from this. And so hopefully you can kind of see that color right now. I like to color with saturated color because I'm coloring in RGB. And then I will convert to CMYK, which RGB is red, green, blue. We work in cyan, yellow, magenta, and then we add black. So that's where the K comes from. And it will darken up a little bit. So what you see on your screen isn't what's going to print because your screen is backlit, meaning that it has light coming through it. So everything appears brighter. So I want to go really saturated, really bright with my colors. And then when I convert to CMYK, then it darkens it a little bit. And as well, your colors can only be as vibrant as the paper you print on. So if you're doing some really kick-ass colors, but they're not getting printed on good gloss paper, then that color saturation is going to be lost. It's going to bleed, it's going to be faded in that paper. So let me zoom out again. I need to see what. Oh yeah, and then these characters too. I mean, like I think I have a good eye for character design, creating characters. John Voice says, I'll buy anything you create, Jimmy. I love your art, ink work, coloring, and your imagination. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. And I hope that thousands more people think like you do. The Town of Vampires is a movie. I have it on DVD, but I can't remember the name. Yeah, a Town of Vampires. I'm saying that right now as just to give you guys a general idea. So I'm not going to give anything specific to my story because people out there will take it and run with it. There are people that will try to say, oh, I came with it first. They'll run with it. I've got some really cool ideas. I'm saying Town with Vampires because that's about as close to the explanation as I can get without giving away this idea that I've got. But a Town of Vampires, I have a movie too. I think I know what movie you're talking about. So this is man, I don't know what I can say. That there's a little twist to that. So it is a town of vampires. That part is true. There's vampires in this town, kind of just hiding out as humans. But I have a twist to it that I haven't seen. And I watch every vampire movie out there. I watch everything werewolves. Man, if you put a werewolf in the comic book, I'm buying it. You put a werewolf in the movie, I'm watching it. I love that stuff. My mother tells me stories about, the folklore, from of the indigenous, an indigenous being like Native American. In case you're wondering what I'm saying, they go by indigenous now. I say they like I'm not part of that bloodline, but I don't really consider myself indigenous. I don't know why. I don't know. I just identify more with my Spanish German heritage. My European side, I don't know. But my mom's very proud to be, indigenous, and I just, for me, I don't know. I just never really really got to meet too much. Like I didn't get to go to the reservation. I didn't really know my grandfather very well. He's the one. He had an ID badge that was it looked like a military card. It was like a yellow card, and he was basically he would always get drunk and disorderly or whatever. And they would have to take him back to the reservation because he had this card that it was basically like we have driver license, but he didn't get a U.S. driver's license. Like they have their own kind of like, I guess they have their own law, and they had their own ID cards. And my grandfather was one of those people, he had his own ID badge and card and all that. And, but I didn't get to know him too well. And I didn't get to, not like my older brothers and sister and stuff like that. They all know more about our heritage. For me, it was more about my Spanish and German because I love German engineering. I used to drive nothing but German cars back in the day, and I really looked into that history. But now I'm starting to look into a lot of the folklore for indigenous, all the where the history where they came from. A lot of people believe they came from Asia. The first people that settled here in North America crossed a landmass, that eventually disappeared due to global warming and the polar ice caps melting, and that part of the land that connected Asia to South America, covered in water, something like that. I don't remember. I saw a documentary on it a long time ago. And so they think that's where, because I've noticed a lot of my mom's family, they look like they could be Asian or Mexican, right? They look like Asian Mexican, but they're not. They're indigenous. And I think I think there's a bit of truth there. I think a lot of the early people here in America did come from Asia. So let me just double check my oh, and I put this like red moon in the background. Just thought a red moon was cool. Put all this like cool light effects behind it. So I thought green smoke to contrast with the red, because, red, green on the opposite side of the color wheel. Put that on there. I've got this girl that, to me, the Wild West is such a big history of America. Like England has King Arthur and knights. We have Billy the Kid. We have here in America, we have cowboys. This is part of our history, our heritage. And so I thought, there were a lot of immigrants migrated to the U.S. for seeking a better life. A lot of Europeans came over. You got Asians and just people from all over the world coming to America. And so I thought I'd make this girl strawberry blonde, and I'm gonna give her some freckles too. I'm gonna do something like this where I'm just gonna, after I color it, I'm gonna render her face, and after I render it, I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna practice with it right now while you guys are on here. I'm gonna show you guys. Let's see what would look right on here. I'm just gonna try this brush real quick. So I'm gonna try to put it like that, like try to put some freckles across her, because she is a strawberry blonde. So after I render her skin tone, I'm gonna throw on like a couple of little stuff like that. The Halloween season is a perfect time to draw a spooky Western. Yeah, I guess people right now are looking for kind of spooky Western kind of stuff. But although I'm probably gonna end up launching this January or February next year. So I can draw a book. If I have a script, I can knock out a book in 30 days. I can get it done. But this is a new IP, new concept, designing, developing characters, designing, developing environments. So since I'm doing all that, it takes a little more time, but I want to get this book done, and I'm not rushing it, but just getting it done and getting it to getting it finished, so that when backers back the book, all the work's done, and all I got to do is just ink it, color it, and get it out to backers. We don't have to worry about any of that. Godlike reminded me of Meta Barons. Yeah, I think that was a big inspiration for him, because all of us, we all get inspired by something or other. And Meta Barons, yeah, he's a big Travis Charest fan, and so am I. And Meta Barons, dude, I love Meta Barons. So I have tons. I have not tons, but I have a few Meta Baron books, and I really do like that. But I'm gonna share with you guys here, kind of show you guys how my layout goes. In somebody was asking a minute ago, saying, do I use Clip Studio Paint? Have I ever considered using Clip Studio Paint to color? Well, I use Clip Studio Paint to pencil, ink, and to flat. So there's my penciled and ink version of the cover, and then I just go through and I flat the book in Clip Studio Paint. You can see I just put down some basic colors, and just kind of figuring out what I wanted her to look like, even trying to separate all my characters. So the Native American female, she's going to be, you know, she's darker toned skin, darker hair, brown eyes. She's got face paint on her. There's something really cool about her and a small percentage of her tribe. That's really cool, and the concept that I've got, and I can't wait to be able to reveal all that. And I want to make, so I made this one a strawberry blonde, you know, because I want them to be completely different. So here's the hero. The hero is is a cowboy. I put him in dark shadow because at the time I didn't really have his face designed yet, and I thought I'll worry about that later. And so I put him in black, but it's his horse. He's got a black stallion, and I thought that was really cool. And it's a female horse, and I gave her this name that to add a little bit of humor in the story. And he's this macho male alpha cowboy, right? Rugged cowboy, but he named his horse something sweet. And he's got this weird relationship with his horse. You know, your horse is like your car. Like, think about if you drive a Mustang, right? You drive a Porsche, you give it a name and you love it. Well, it stems from the time of cowboys. So I'm kind of keeping that in the book, and it's a little bit of nice witticism in it, kind of fun thing there. But there is a werewolf in the book, and he's kind of the first of his kind, and it's a great story idea. I don't want to reveal too much about the werewolf, but it's going to be different than the way werewolves have been done. And because I like doing that, I like to challenge myself and go, okay, this is the typical thing. This is the way werewolves are. What could I do to change it? I like to add my own version to the lore. You know, I like to add on to it, just like even though I know you're gonna go, oh God, that wasn't great, but Stephenie Meyer added to the lore of vampires by giving them this flesh and the skin that if they were in sunlight, it would reveal who they are, because they would glisten and glow in sunlight. So by adding stuff like that, you're adding to the lore to it, and separating your book from others. And I think, it was written for women. It wasn't written for guys like us or anything like that. And that's why it was so successful, because it was done differently. So I like doing stuff like that, and yes, I read Twilight and saw every single movie, every single woman that I dated. At the time when Twilights were popular and coming out, I was dating. So take a woman on a date, like, where do you want to go? I want to see the new Twilight. You're on a date, you're like, okay, I want to have a good time, so I got to keep you happy. And I saw all the Twilight movies. Plus, my daughter loved the first one, so I took her to go see the first one. And so here we go. I started drawing pages. I'm telling the story, and I'm a visual storyteller. So here is my cowboy. At the time when I penciled this, I didn't have a design for him, and I didn't have a look for his face. So I just drew a generic face, sketched out. I love drawing horses. I can draw animals just straight out of my head. I can draw a horse just straight out of my head. Horses are just so simple design that I just go, like, I don't understand how people are having such a hard time with the horse, when the horse, it's just a basic shapes, that's all that is. And then, it's just these two cylinders, and then you got like a circle here, and then you got the hindquarters, you got the legs, and there's the back. You can have fun with the tail. You can flip his mane over. And then the eye sockets, they have these like lid eyes. They have little brows, and I like to do like a stallion, kind of bend the nose. But anyway, drawing a horse is so simple. I can just whip out horses like nothing. And I've always just thought to myself, why not do something with horses? And then I was kind of hearing other people talk about how they were struggling drawing horses, and I thought, wow, each artist, we're different. We're all different. Like to me, drawing tech, I hate drawing tech. There's other artists out there like Tommy Patterson. He draws tech just straight out of his head. He's good at it. We all have our strengths. For me, it's animals. I can draw an animal just, and I have a video, one of my streams. I'm going to clip it and just show the part where I drew a bear. I just sat and just drew the bear live from scratch. I'll show you guys. And I'm going to clip that one, but it's in one of my last live streams. So anyway, here's we start with like a regular Western. You got the cowboy. He's traveling. We see him there, the back shot. I love this shot. This is like my Marble Man moment where the sun's setting. He's traveling on the horse. It's going to be nightfall. And if you guys don't know, if you've ever lived if you lived in the country, you know that it gets really dark in the country. Well, in America, we have so much city, so much development in America that we can never get to a class 2 darkness, right? We're more of a class 9 darkness, meaning that we really can only see a small percentage. We see maybe 10% of the stars in the sky. We're like Galileo. Was it Galileo? Why do I want to say Galileo? Why am I feeling that's wrong? Who's the guy that would always look up the stars? Why am I forgetting his name? The Italian explorer. Anyway, when he looked up at the stars, he saw way more than we can see today because of all the development that we've got, and the ozone layer and all this stuff going on or whatever. But anyway, I mean, but it is true. We can't see that because we have so much. I don't know. I don't know if I believe in global warming as much, really, to be honest. I hate to say that, but I know it's political, but some people are like, no, you got to believe in it. I don't know. But all I know now is we have so many city lights that it makes it so difficult. It draws out the stars. You can't see them. So back then in the time of the Wild West, and, this could be in 1860, around that time, could be earlier, 1816. I'm not sure what exact year I'm going to place this in yet. At that time, there were no city lights. So whenever nightfall came, it was dangerous. There were wolves out. There were bears. There were, there were marauders. There were robbers. There were bandits. There were whatever. There were thieves, whatever you want to call them. There was a lot of danger. So this is why cowboys, you see cowboy movies, they light fire at night to keep away the wolves, keep away the coyote. You carried your firearm with you for safety because you had thieves that would come and try to take, steal your boots or whatever. So it's nightfall. He needs someplace for shelter. And we can see that there is a wolf up on a ridge looking down, just watching him. Now, there's going to be something different about this wolf. But this wolf is watching him. And, what is it with this wolf? Why did I save a whole panel for it? So he's traveling. You can see that there is a cottage out there, and there's a fire coming out of the chimney, smoke coming out of the chimney. So he thinks he's in luck. It's like, hey, my luck's changing. What a great, fortune to come upon, right? So as he goes down that hill a little more, I started to draw his face a little more. Started to think, what would I like? Who do I think of that's pretty badass? I do like Clint Eastwood. I do like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And I liked Eric Weathers had his hair long at one time. And I thought, that's pretty badass. I wish I could grow my hair like that. But I have curly hair. So my hair curls. But I thought, dude, I wish I could grow my hair like that. So I gave him Eric Weathers hair. I gave him Phil Diaz lamb chops. I kind of gave him that Clint Eastwood kind of feel. And this guy's got a little match. And he's lighting up his cigarette. He's on his horse. And he's taking a breather for a moment because you can't really, back then, you really couldn't just show up at a stranger's house. Even today in Texas, you can't just come onto a residential area because in Texas, we can legally protect our property. So if you're new to Texas, don't go walking on somebody's private residence that you don't know who that is, because this is Texas. It's a different country. It's like a whole nother country. So don't do that. Riley went to a place of business. Thank God Riley didn't show up at somebody's private residence in Texas, because we would we would be doing a memorial for Riley today, most likely. It's totally different. And in this time in 1800s, you really didn't. He's kind of making sure it's a safe kind of thing and how he's going to approach it. And so he lights up a cigarette real quick. And here's the cigarette lighting closer up. I'm a big fan. I love Wolverine. Like I said, when I designed him, I thought the lamb chop thing was pretty cool. The hair, of course, this isn't Wolverine. Wolverine doesn't own, only thing Wolverine has is that hair point thing. So, this guy doesn't have that hair. That's the only thing in the Wolverine trademark, but the lamb chops, I like that. I thought it's a really cool, plus that was the honest look in the 1800s. Men had lamb chops on there, or they had the mustache, or they had a full beard. There was a lot of facial hair. So here's the guy, he lights up the little cigarette thing. And then we see him looking up and looking over, and he says to his horse, calls her by her name. It's a funny little name. And he calls her that. And he says, something like, it looks like our luck is changing. And, so he's going to go in to this house. And right now, when you're reading it, you don't really know what his intentions are. Is he good? Is he bad? We're going to be introduced to this character. We're going to find out, does this character got good morals? Is he like Solomon Kane? Maybe he was a thief at one time, and he is now seeking redemption. And we're going to journey through this character right here as he's a man in the Wild West, and we're going to see what happens to him. He becomes something happens to him that changes his world. And he's then introduced to a whole nother universe that's existed in the shadows. So something happens to him. That changes his entire life, and we journey through it with him. And he's also headed to this particular town because he's looking for somebody. Somebody very, very close to him is supposedly in this town. He's traveling to Texas, to this town. And as he's traveling, he gets to meet people along the way that try to warn him about that town. They've all heard things about that the darkness lives there. It's a dark town, and all these warnings. And, he doesn't heed any of the warnings. And then he finds himself in a situation that, like I said, alters his future. And then he gets to meet this other world of characters. And so, simple story, easy to follow, I think. And I think that's the way you tell the story, and we start to explore this world with him on this journey. And like, who's that native chick? Who is she? She looks pretty cool. What's her story? Look at those claws. What else has claws like that? Like, what could she be? Why does she have like these long nails? Why is there blood under her? I accidentally colored her feather green. And then, things like, what's up with this green smoke? Who is this guy right in the middle? He's dressed very well. In the 1800s, some people didn't even have shoes, but why does this vampire looking dude have such nice attire? And he's dressed just a little bit differently. He's got paisleys on his vest. It's like, he's kind of got a little bit of a European fashion style to it, to him. His posture is upright. He's very confident. Standing straight. He's erect. Why is this vampire so erect? And who is that strawberry blonde with the little freckles? I got to remove those freckles. And I'll just leave them there for now so I remember later. I'm going to spray them on there. And, who is that? Look how beautiful and sultry her face is, and how beautiful she looks, let me, just going to use my wand, select the areas that I need to put in for her eyeballs. And let me find a really, really light. I like to put a really, really light pink for the eyes. Not that bloodshot, but so that way they're not quite bright white eyeballs, but when I start rendering it, I'm going to start putting in even whiter. And then a little red. I'll put a little red along the bottom of the eye to make it look kind of natural. And I'll do that. Ooh, I got to take my medication. I just got my notification here. So if you guys want Mr. Jimmy to live, I have to take this medicine. So I will be, I have to get off the stream now, and time for that medication. But thank you guys so much. I'm going to go take that meds. But if you guys get a chance, go over to Jimmy Reyes Art. And if you guys want to follow and be notified for anything that I do at jimmyreyesart.com, just sign up for my newsletter. And you guys can sign up for the newsletter, and you'll be notified whenever I work on anything. And that way you guys stay up to date. Krabby Patty says, it's called light pollution, same visual effects as gas pollution. Yeah. So, Galileo. Why can't I can't speak today. Maybe it's because I need my medicine. I don't know. Galileo. But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. When he looked up at the stars, he saw way more stars than we see today. So we'd actually have to travel outside the U.S. There is in South America in the jungle in there. That's the only place that ever gets really dark, class 9 darkness. But when, I almost said something about my story. I don't want to give it away. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I've got to go take that medication, but you guys are amazing, and I do appreciate that. Hey, the gaming mechanic, from all the blood he's sucking. And and I appreciate, man, your support and everything. And I was going to write you back. I have an idea for you, but I didn't want to say it publicly because I can't do this for everybody. But so I'll write you back. I'll reply back to the way that you had written me, and see if you're interested. And but I'll shoot you an email. So keep an eye out. I've got to take my medication, and then it's already pretty much my bedtime, so I may end up writing that email tomorrow. But just keep an eye out for it. I think you might just to show my appreciation. Got something special for you. Is what to show my appreciation. You have your super chats. You've been very supportive and stuff. So got some to show my appreciation. And Krabby Patty says, he's waving. All right. So thank you guys. I do appreciate it. Don't forget, sign up at jimmyreyesart.com if you guys do get the chance. And, keep up to date with everything that I am working on. So one last look, a little closer look at some of these characters. And so, yeah, keep an eye out. The book is called Dark Landers. And it'll all make sense once I'm able to reveal a little more about the story. So take it easy, guys. I'll see you guys soon. And you guys have a good evening or a good morning wherever you are.